actually works before we turn on our camera. Okay, that's working. And Twitch is working, I assume. Okay, good, we're live. Oh, and we've hit 100 followers on Twitch. Okay, somebody comment quick to let me know how everything is, and we'll turn on the proper camera in a second. Crudicles. First person to comment gets kudos. Right. Okay. Got this. All good. Gonna load up the actual Caelan Conrad thing. New window. All right.
Fucking water on them.
Fucking water on them. Alright, okay, I got some comments. I see you, I hear you. Yes, you do. Right, so Gladlick and Tabitha. Weird name. So we're gonna turn on this now. Yeah. So how's that? Oh, okay. It's nope. Hey, oh, I'm an idiot. I'm not even plugged in. Okay, one sec. Cancel. Discard. Okay. Sorry, everybody. I'll turn this off again. Just fiddling for a second. So I gotta do this. Can't see you now. Yeah. Sorry, I was a tomfool. Oh, that's a bit weird. I ain't trying to solve a problem. I ain't Nancy Drew. Oh. Okay. So this can go out, and then where is my? Where's it? Sorry, because I was away. I had to reset everything up, and obviously, you know, like as things get more complicated, I don't know. But like, okay, good. All right, we should be just about to. And oh god, wrong setting. Of course, it's always something. P T V A V M. Boom. And now I'll show off the fact that I'm only wearing underpants. Ah, you can't see it. Boom. Hello, I'm really early, it seems, lol. Oh, crap, wait. I need to let it focus on my face. Okay, so focus on face. That seems focused. That's got to be focused. Okay, now, before it has time to change focus, just gotta turn off the autofocus and actually do a prop. Oh my lord, we're doing everything wrong. Literally haven't. Okay. Okay, that's good. All right. Okay. Why did I'm annoyed at the fact this chair leans back so far. Someone was like, "Oh, you just need a cushion." Well, there we go. Now you can see I'm just wearing my underwear. It's hot in here. So, but like, I don't really get how. Can a cushion really help? I mean, I guess. It feels kind of just the same. I'm hot. I genuinely forget how much. Like, every single time it just gets a little bit hot, I remind myself why it is like. No, it's humidity. That's what does it, you know? It's not hot, it's humidity. So, how about that women's Euros final, eh? Well done, England. You won. That didn't sound very convincing. You know what? I think I'm too hot to banter, so I think the best course of action is actually just to get into the thingy. If somebody asks a question directly, I may be able to respond, but I'm not gonna force the light-hearted casual banter when I'm too toasty. It's not even like I don't even know what temperature is. Okay, Google, what is the weather in my exact location? Ooh, 74 Fahrenheit. How useful. See, that's not even hot. It's 27 Celsius was the highest, and right now it's 23. But the humidity, okay, the humidity, guys, 69. Hi, Venera. So hi, Venera, Starfishkin. Lol, my Google Home just responded to. It's funny because I actually don't have like anything that responds to OK Google. I literally just go like I just say it whenever I'm like Googling something. I'll say it as if I'm like talking to Google. Or like a lot of the time, sometimes I'll even like say OK Google, but in a context where I'm doing something that I don't even like. If I'm like I don't know, I need to turn the flashlight on my phone. I'll be like looking for the flashlight. I'll be like, OK Google, show me where the flashlight is on my phone. And then, of course, the reality is I'm much slower than Google. I forget if it's a flashlight or a torch. Torch. Oh my god, what is it? So, because I definitely have it on here, like it's really weirdly named, whatever it is. So it's not a torch, it's not a flashlight. It's not settings. It's not Snapchat. Oh my lord! Like I genuinely. Oh wait, you know what? I think I know why. It's because I always forget, so I have to find it here. Boom. That shirt looks hot. People are gunning for the tank top. Okay, yeah, you know what? Screw it. We'll do tank top. Tank top. Are we gonna bring back the pink? Have I worn pink yet for one of these Caelan Conrad things? I don't think so. You're gonna see that I'm kind of burnt. Well, you probably won't be able to tell. Let's be real here. Oh, nailed it. Yeah, so like, here's the thing about heat, right? Okay. By the way, when you said that tank, oh hello, nip slip. Good thing I'm a man. Oh, why is this happening? Like, why is it so far? Like, what's happened to? Why does this feel so much more nippy? I don't know. It's just something's not right about it. It's not sitting right. Maybe it's because it's too. I don't know. Something's wrong. Like, look, it's happening again, and I keep forgetting what's. Okay, we gotta sort this out. I don't know what's happening here. Oh lord. Okay. Okay. Are we nip free? We gotta be nip free, surely. To be fair, I mean, I say, oh my goodness, but you ever just think to yourself, like, imagine being a woman, right? Because, okay, like, you got to wear a bra in this kind of weather? No, thank you. Okay, yeah, so I can confirm we have not worn a tank top for any of the Caelan Conrad videos. I just don't want to wear the same top twice in the same series. Yes. Casey OnlyFans. I will say, actually, if you want to see some Casey OnlyFans, there was a picture of me at the wedding I went to this weekend, and I have to say that I looked pretty hot. It was mostly just I genuinely I think I like to think it was I don't know what it was, but literally like it looked as if I had butt implants. Like it was I'm not sure what it was, but it literally looked like just insane. Um, yeah, there's some yeah okay. I don't know. I was looking like it is somewhere, but I'm not gonna show you it. You'll have to look out for it. Um, Sports bras aren't that bad, TBH. Ah, that's actually really funny because there was like a whole controversy about sports bras because when Kelly, I don't know her first name, scored the winning goal against Germany, she took her top off. And then Gary Lineker tweeted something which I would say seemed pretty inoffensive, frankly. He said something like, um, again, he must have said her full name, but I can't think. Oh, I think it's Chloe Kelly. Yeah, Chloe Kelly. He was like, Chloe Kelly is a really good football player, bra none. Which is like, it's kind of dumb. Like, it's kind of a dumb pun. Because it's like, obviously, the thing is, it doesn't really work because literally the joke is just, well, she took off her top so you could see her bra. Like, because obviously the thing is, the joke would have worked better if she wasn't wearing a bra, because then it would be like bra none, as in she doesn't have a bra. But instead she did have a bra, so it didn't really work. But loads of people were saying it was sexist, and it's kind of like I don't really think it is because like I would say if anything, and this is my take, if a woman takes off her top and a man comments on that and doesn't say something sexual, surely that's kind of like the good thing, you know? Like surely like making like I would say generally speaking, if a man like if a woman shows that's it, if a woman takes off her top in a non-sexual context, I feel like you might say the best thing a man could do is not comment on it at all. And you might say that the worst thing a man can do is comment on it and be like, oh, hey, hey, that's, like be a little bit of a cheeky chappy about it. But I feel like certainly a middle ground um, is um, is like just commenting on it, but not in a sexual way. Like whatever I don't know. Um, yeah. Oh, I saw this thing recently. It was like somebody. Oh, it was like Taylor Swift was wearing a sports bra, and somebody like commented like saying that they were like really excited because they thought that like this meant that like Taylor Swift was going to come out as a trans man because she was wearing a binder, and I say all of this derisively as if I would be able to recognize the difference, but there were loads of women being like, no, it's a sports bra. I mean, I say that like it didn't look like a binder. I didn't know that it was a sports bra. Um, I mean, once it was pointed out, I was like, okay, yeah. I wouldn't personally like. I don't speak authoritatively on bras very often at all. Um, don't really know much about them, frankly. Uh, this all started with that whole nip slip thing. I was going to tell you how I got burnt. I mean, there's not really much to it. I'll just say that, like, first of all, I only get burnt in England because England is the place where I don't expect to get burnt. Like, I've been to hot places before, but I've never got burnt in a hot place because it's kind of like oh, like I think if I went to Australia, I would never get burnt because I'd be like, oh, like I'm like used to the fact you just wear it all the time. The thing is, what happens in England is you get caught out. You'll be like, oh yeah, it'll probably be a pretty cloudy day. Don't have to worry about anything, and that's when it gets you. But yeah, I was at the beach, and I actually put on suntan lotion, but I think a little bit too late, so I got burnt. But like, here's the thing, okay? I think I've got a new thing going on, which has happened now twice. Which is so it's actually a thing, which is like after one gets sunburnt, then there's like this itchiness that comes with it, and it is it is not okay. Like it really like I feel like it's hard. I don't know. What beach? Well, it was a combination of beaches, um, but specifically the beach at the time was it was kind of like you know, like it was like if you're at Weymouth Beach and then you kind of went in the direction of Portland, but I assure you not the American Portland, the regular Portland, you know, the real Portland, the Dorset Portland. Right there, I'm from Dorset, and I would like to take you to Portland, or whatever. Um, or near where? Near Weymouth. There you go. Near Weymouth, which is where I was. Um, and where are we? Yeah. Anyway, so I got no. So someone mentioned aloe vera. Here's the thing, okay? Legit. This is what happened though. So the first time this happened was in Pembrokeshire, and I got sunburnt. I put on the aloe vera, and I felt a little bit itchy, and I felt even more itchy, and I felt so itchy that I was like, I'm gonna die. And I wasn't. It wasn't actually, but it was like it was insane. And like the thing is, like itchiness. I genuinely like it was wild because it's like I feel like the thing is in a way I almost want to say it was like worse than pain, but I don't know if that's true, to be fair. I think what it is though is you don't like you don't expect itchiness to be that bad, or I don't at least. Whereas like so like pain, I mean I tell you what, I cut my foot open on the beach too, which was fun. But like, you know, it's kind of like, oh, you're just hurting. It's like it's a very kind of relatable experience. It's like, you know, I cut my foot open. Ow, that hurt. I walked upstairs. Ow, this hurts. You know, like basically, and you know, obviously, through all my kind of walking everywhere, um, there was a consistent ouchiness, but like I was kind of used to it. But then, like when you just have an itch and it's just not going away, and if anything, it's getting worse, and it's all over your body, you feel like you're going. It's just you just can't process it. I think that's it. It's like the sense of not really being able to mentally process it because it's not like a regular thing. Like pain happens like all the time. Like I'm pretty sure like I would imagine pretty much everybody experiences some form of pain on a daily basis. I would imagine so. Like even if it's just like one of those just like random aches or something. Third on Twitch. Well done, Lazul. Um, but yeah, anyway. So the thing is, like, so I put on the aloe vera, and it was just like so itchy. Um, and yeah, basically, um, yeah, I was sad. Um, the funny thing is, by the way, that like, so Lisa's saying wear sunscreen. The thing is, even after that, I at several points didn't wear sunscreen because I was still like, oh, I didn't I didn't need it or whatever. So the actual day of the wedding, I was like, well, I'm not gonna be popping shirts at the wedding. So I was like, oh, this will be fine, and it was fine. And then on the final day, Monday, yesterday, I went to swim in the beach or swim in the sea. This one actually was Weymouth Beach, and I was like, I probably don't need a sunscreen for this. Like, you know, I just like what would be the point? I like put it all over myself and I'd get in the sea, which would like maybe even wash it off. I don't know how sunscreen works. But like I was just like, you know what? Literally all I'm planning on doing is going down to the beach, swimming in the sea, and then walking back. And that's what I did. Um and then we need to see the wedding pictures. The issue is like, and I don't want to imply that my entire family hates me, but I'm not part of the WhatsApp group. Shall I message my sister and say, hey, can you add me to the WhatsApp group? Like, I've been tolerating not being part of the WhatsApp group for a while. Um, okay. So, message my sister. Um, I don't even know. I don't even know if anyone in my family has me on WhatsApp. Okay, so, that's not. Oh, did you ever just go back and realize how long it's been since you messaged your sister? Anyone would think I'd been in the presence of her. Um, sorry, I said wedding. I didn't mean to say that. family. What's that? Question mark. Got to throw in the question mark to sweeten the deal. In the meantime, I guess I can show you this photo of me at the last week's wedding. Oh, little wedding anniversary thing. It's all wedding. Added 2 photos. What are these 2 photos going to be? Oh, okay, yeah, boom. Okay. I don't know which one's better. I think I have to go for this one and like it. And I'll like this one too. Okay. So what do? I do, how do I do this? Copy image address. And then we do, let me teach everybody how to do this. So then you, oh, no, color scheme, browser. And then you go, is this going to work? Ah, it worked. There we go. So this was me really just like tearing up the dance floor at the wedding last week. The funny thing is, I say in defense of myself, I thought there's like a way to crop it. Do I do Alt? This guy was pretty cool. Look at him. Look at that. Anyway, there we go. So I think that's a good size. The thing about that is I was kind of actually like, dare I say, intentionally dancing badly. I swear, I wasn't dancing badly on purpose. Oh, sorry, I wasn't dancing badly. I wasn't trying to dance well. That's what I'm saying. But actually, like, surprisingly, I don't look that terrible. Although I do look a little bit lonely, I guess, when you consider the fact that where's where's everyone else? The thing is, so I don't know, whatever. It's fine. But yeah, and I'm kind of annoyed though that what wasn't captured is the moment where I realized I was being photographed. Because I feel like there must have been quite an entertaining look of shame on my face in that moment. Oh dear, I'm gonna delete all the wrong things again. Anyway, there was also a photo of me with my buddy. I wonder if he's watching this right now. He could be. This is like an actual photo of me when I knew that I was being filmed. Anyway, okay. Does that work? Oh, have you got to wait a minute? Where is it? Why isn't it there? Wait. I can't see it. Link to Discord. I believe you'll find, unless I'm mistaken, which as I so often am. Well, I just heard my own voice. That it's it's not in the description, but I suppose I'll do it for you. If I go like this and then this and then try to ignore the sound of my own audio. Oh, good, I managed to avoid it. Gilded. This should work. So again, just for the record, in case this isn't clear, in case anybody still doesn't know, I don't have a Discord. I was banned from Discord. And I was banned for the worst crime of all. Speaking truth to power. Okay. That might work. By the way, I actually think, tentatively, I'm declaring victory against Naked HD whatever. Yeah, I think actually I think the video I want to show isn't appearing, probably because it was shared privately, and I don't think it's been uploaded. It's fine. It's not as entertaining. It's just a video of me as I normally am. Yeah, I'm surprised at the apparent absence of pictures of me. Whatever. We'll see if that gets resolved. All the greats get banned on Discord. You're just gonna summon the bot again, lol. I 100% am. No, I basically did the old like ban certain words thing. Anyway, oh, you want to hear about my entire weekend? So, drove down on Sunday. Nope, 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 not even slightly. Drove down. Don't worry, don't worry. There'll be cake at some point. The thing about calling butts cake is it kind of makes it sound like it's very kind of like I guess what I'm wondering is why is it cake? Like that's I've never really understood that. But I don't know. Anyway, okay, so where are we? Yeah, it was a really long journey down, and then nothing happened, which is good. Yeah, nothing happened on Friday, and then on Saturday, Saturday was the day I got burnt. Because I went to see some family, and I've got a big family. This might be very confusing to particularly Americans watching because when you come from a country where you can actually travel to other places in that country regularly and kind of realistically, it tends to be a lot easier to maintain a large family. You know, like basically, I've got so like I know Americans such as my fiance who like have never even met any of their cousins. Meanwhile, I meet like my second cousins more than once a year because it'll be like there'll be something going on. I'm like, oh hey, it's my second cousin. Blah, blah. Like anyway, so that's the thing. Like, I was mostly like, I mean, heck, I was hardly even interacting with my first cousins, or like, first cousins. I don't know about that. I was hanging out with my second cousins, um, and we were playing frisbee. I don't know if you've heard of this thing called frisbee, and I think basically the reason why I got burnt is because I was doing a lot of like just hanging about topless. Real Top Gun energy. Really, real Top Gun volleyball energy. So that was that, and then what happened after that? Oh yes, there was a seal. There was a seal in the sea, and I saw a seal in the sea, and I said, "Hello, seal in the sea," and that was it. That was all the exciting things that happened that day. So then I got sunburnt, and then I was sad, and then Sunday, I went to a wedding. The funny thing about the wedding is that it was at this kind of like an old fort, which sounds nice because it's like old and imposing and all of that. And actually, like where it was, like it was so you can imagine being a fort in a kind of port city town, probably a town, let's be honest. It overlooked the sea from quite a high vantage point, which, of course, in some people's reckoning, looks pretty. And so that was very pretty. Um, and but then the thing is, like later on, I was like kind of hanging out in the car park, on the beach, and I looked up at the fort, and I thought actually from here it looks pretty damn grim. Like it basically looked like a concentration camp. Like it had like razor wire around it, and like the building itself just looked like a massive block. Like when you're next to it, it's kind of cool, but whatever. What the heck is a second cousin? I'm Mexican. We refer to all cousins as cousins. So it's actually a really simple system. The way you find out what degree of cousin somebody is someone said cousin of a cousin. That's not true because a cousin of a cousin would just be your cousin. Oh, wait, no, I see what you're saying. But you're wrong. That's not what it is. Um, yes, people are getting it. Well, they're not quite getting it. Everyone's getting it slightly wrong. So let me just be clear about this. The way you know whether somebody is your second cousin is how many G's separate you in terms of your nearest common denominator, nearest common ancestor. So, oh my god, everyone's getting it wrong. Everybody's getting it wrong. Your first cousin is somebody you're related to by your grandma or granddad. The next one is who you're related to by your great grandma or granddad. Um, so it's actually the person who said it's your cousin's kids is the closest. Basically, it's your parents' cousins' kids. So my mum's cousins, which is who I was hanging out with. So it was my mum's cousins' kids, and they're my second cousins. And by the way, some of my mum's cousins' kids have had everyone's wrong. I swear. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it like, okay, I'm talking about this like authoritatively, as if I'm 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure I'm certain. Anyway, I'm going to power through as if like just ignoring all the people offering up other stuff. But anyway, the thing is, so some of my mum's cousins' kids have kids. I say some. One. Now, that means that if, say, I were to have a kid, and then our kids were to meet, then they would be third cousins. And I was kind of thinking to myself, like, okay, like I don't really know people who like being friends with, because in other words, they would literally be related by their great great grandparents. It's wild. But the thing is, I could see it happening. Like, I don't really see. Okay, so I suppose I've explained the wedding. The thing is, after that, um, please don't have kids. Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to say anything about having kids itself, but what I will say is that my conclusion, having gone to a beach, is that I feel like if I did have kids, I would be inclined to not tell them that the beach exists because it seems like anything that would be remotely appealing about a beach is going to be immediately ruined by the fact you now have a kid who is going to be determined to eat sand or throw sand at people or swim out into the ocean and drown. I just don't. I just can't understand. I feel like the main thing, like okay, so you got like the whole them harming themselves thing, but I feel like the main thing is definitely the whole like kids throwing sand at people, and not even like intentionally. I mean, you do get like stupid kids who do that. Like there was a kid, legit. Okay, there was a kid. I was there eating my kebab. Um, I ate so much sand as a kid. Um, like I was a when I was a baby. I mean, according to my mum, I don't remember. It wasn't a conscious decision, but my mum says that I would literally just like shovel sand into my mouth. Which again, like, why would you take your kid to the beach? Um, but whatever. Anyway, so the thing is, okay, so basically, right. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so basically, there was a kid who I was eating a kebab, and this kid comes along and like fills their sock up with sand. I say their sock actually, it was a big sock. So maybe it was their dad's sock, which kind of kids. So they filled their dad's sock up with sand and then they like dunked it in like a puddle of water and then they started swinging it around over their head. Send and like I'm laughing now, but at the time I was like, okay, I need to like I can't also you can't discipline other people's kids really. I mean, I kind of, insofar as saying, please don't. If that's disciplining other people's kids, I guess I do discipline other people's kids. So please don't do that. Please stop. Anyway, but yeah, like, okay, so let's assume you're like a decent parent who actually is motivated to stop your kid from. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, like, the thing is, a lot of the time they don't even do it like consciously. They just do it because they're stupid. They just do it because they're like, oh, let's dig a hole and I'll just send it everywhere. But like, okay, let's say um but like yeah, so let's say you're like a decent parent who's motivated to kind of keep your kid from ruining other people's time at the beach, which if you're like a good parent you should be doing that. Well, how bloody stressful is that? You gotta like that's like who enjoys that? It's like, oh, time for a nice relaxing time at the beach where I'm gonna have to be like constantly monitoring and disciplining my kid who is an idiot. I don't know. It's weird. I don't get the old kids thing. I mean, I know I get kids like things like I'm fine with kids. I guess, but like I'm not denying the evident drawbacks. But I feel like definitely going to the beach with a kid is just making things unnecessarily difficult for yourself. Like that's playing it on hard mode. Um, so yeah, but I wanted to say, okay, so basically, the thing is, then after that, we went to, so like this is what, okay, my family on this side of the family, the Bristol lot, that's how you'll know them from henceforth. This is what the Bristol lot do, right? They have this thing where they get together as a family and they literally do like a competitive tournament of various tasks. Um, fans um, fans of the channel, I mean, heck, fans of my profile picture will know that my profile picture comes from when who messaged me on. Okay, that's fine. Um, my profile picture comes from me posting a picture of myself dressed up in dun, 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 drag, because one of the competitions for this family tournament was to. I feel like I've told this story before, but I'll say it again. Um, Pick somebody to like be in a Miss World pageant, and of course, because like you want to go for the funniness points, it's always funny to nominate a dude to do it. So yeah, like that's the hilarious thing. So I did that. Um, I threw in some cheeky gender critical talking points in my acceptance speech, but I won. I won the tournament. They said, "Wow, this guy is a real Miss World." Um, and then I posted the picture to Twitter, and some kind fan, drew a picture of it, and of course, yes, that picture is now my profile picture. The thing is, they do repeat the tasks I've learned because this is my second time now. And by the way, I would like to say 100% win record in terms of like both times the team that I've been on has won. Um, but they repeat the task, so they repeated the task again. They're like, okay, we're going to do the Miss World tournament thing. And of course, people nominated me because last time I won. But I was kind of thinking to myself, like, I don't know, because I did win last time, so it seems unlikely. Like the fact that I've won before seems unlikely I'll win again, because like I imagine the judge, who is my grand uncle by the way, would want to not have a like not have the same person win twice. But whatever, I gave it the old college try. I made a name for myself with a bunch of new people who were there, mostly various partners of my different second cousins. So afterwards, I could say, "Oh, hello, person," and like it helps. They were like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I already know you. You were the dude dressed up as a woman, trying to be funny." And I say, "Good, good. I'm glad we're off to a good start. Great, that's great." It doesn't help the fact that I would say the majority, well, a lot of them are younger than me. A fair few of them are like teenaged, so I don't know, like there's not much kind of relatability there. So it's just like, hi, how are you doing? Doing the old A levels? Oh, you planning on going to uni? What do you want to do at uni? Someone says congratulations, thank you. Um, Anyway, so I lost basically, which I was not surprised by. I think like I think I basically did just as well I did last time, but I think I lost just because you know could have just because that's why I lost. No, I lost because like I say, they wouldn't want to nominate award the same person twice. I think it was a winning performance, but I think they knew. Well, hold a minute. If we look, if we give this guy the win this time, he's gonna be coming up here dressed as a woman every single year, expecting to win every single time. We've got to put a stop to this now. And to an extent, I'm glad they did, because it means that next time I can just be like, no, okay, I've done it twice now. Can we please? The thing is, like, someone was like, oh, we should have one of like the little baby girls do it. I say baby girls, like like a cute little kid do it, because like all they have to do, like they don't even have to like dress up or anything. Um, Hello, Radical Ramblings. Get back to work. No, it's fine. You don't have to work. Um. Anyway, you've come at a good time. You've come at a time when I'm just about to express enthusiasm for the idea of getting a young child to participate in a beauty pageant. But then I feel like you get the cuteness vote. So like I was 100% on board with that. I was like, yes, let's get the young kids involved, and that way we'll win on cuteness. But people disagreed. I maintain we would have won, but we won anyway. Um, so I guess that has to be the end of the story. Oh no, wait, let me tell you this because it will kind of sup Rad. Hey, Radical Ramblings. I saw your video on this is gonna be embarrassing if it wasn't you. Like sometimes I do think to myself, I'm like, oh, I saw your video, and I'm like, wait, was it your video? The one on like it gets it wasn't it gets better because that's like the, but it was like basically it's like things are fine sometimes. That was like the video. I can't remember what it was. It was like about how like being online is pretty shit, but then it was just like, but sometimes it's okay. I remember that. I watched the video. I mean, it was a very short video, so like I mean, I didn't really have an excuse not to watch it. It's not like one of my videos where I mean, who would watch one of my videos? You got to put aside like, I mean, I don't even actually. To be fair, I'm embarrassed to admit that a lot of the time I will watch my own videos more than is necessary for the editing process. Like, I'll be like, okay, I got to edit it, and then later on I'll be like, oh, you know what? I'll treat myself. I'll listen to it again. Um, Yes, it's mostly okay. Yes, that was the video. It's mostly okay. Um, yes, that's good. I feel that's a good message. It's mostly okay. It's like it's very kind of touch grassy kind of message, which we can all get behind. Um, I watch a few times after posting. Yeah, good. I watch a few times after posting while obsessively checking the analytics. That's not true. I don't even pay attention to the analytics at all nowadays. I also kind of feel like I don't know. Like a lot of the time, I don't find out whether or not my videos have um have like dislikes until like the only way I'd find out my videos have a lot of dislikes is if I get like a lot of negative comments and I'll think, oh, there's something going on here, and I'll check just for funsies. But usually I don't notice. Anyway, like that's one thing. I don't know. Like in a way, I'm not entirely against YouTube's whole getting rid of the dislike button thing because it kind of I don't know like in a way it's sort of like when it's not at the forefront of your mind it's kind of kosh. What was I thinking? Oh. What was I thinking? Yes. And okay, so yeah, like I was saying, as I was just talking about being dressed like a woman, I wanted to talk about how I was really good at the sports ball. Um, um, like the sports that people play. It's funny because I actually quite like sports. Um, so we played rounders, and I don't want to explain how rounders works or anything like that. Although there are a few funny comments that do require. Okay, no, actually, I do need to explain it. So basically, like the thing is, okay, so at first we're kind of at a disadvantage because my assumption going into it had been a bit like how most kind of sports work is that basically you keep playing until everybody gets out. Actually, I say that's not how cricket works, but like you keep playing until everybody gets out. So I was like, in the first round, I was playing quite conservatively. Like, oh, I don't want to get out. Um, but then I realized, oh, wait, actually, like, eventually it was revealed, oh, wait, you don't actually get to go more than once. So I was like, what was the point of that? But the thing is, okay, so the way Rounders works is that if you get to, so like, obviously the obvious thing to be would be to contrast it with baseball. Because in baseball, basically, all that matters is that you get round the um round it. Like you just need to um yeah, good. It's a good thing I'm literally explaining the difference between um baseball and rounders. So in baseball, all that matters is that you get round the diamond. Well, the bases were loaded on the diamond. Is it loaded or is it empty? Anyway, whatever. And that's all that matters. So it doesn't matter. You can literally do it like first base, second base, third base, home run. Well, I guess it's what I don't know what it's called when you just finish it, but whatever. Anyway, the thing is, okay, so rounders is different. Okay, in rounders, the only thing that really matters is how you do on your first run. And the thing is, in rounders, if you run to first base on your first run, you get 0 points, even if you get all the way around. And if you run to your second base on your first run, you get half a point, even if you run all the way around. The only way you can get one whole point is if you run all the way around on your first hit, aka in baseball, obviously a home run. So in rounders, basically, home runs are much more important. And basically, the thing is, so this is the key point, okay? What we realized is therefore stopping people from getting to second base is what matters, you know? Because if people get to second base, they get half a point. But if people don't get to second base, they get 0 points. So we could stop them getting any points at all just by really making sure that we had just the top guy on second base, like the best guy. The guy who you can count on when times are getting tough, the guy who will always be there for you, the guy who will just be, I think, really the MVP, the hero, everything you want in a rounders player. Anyway, so I was on second base. And it got to a point where I basically just started shouting, to second, literally like before they'd thrown it. I'd be like, the guy would be like, winding up for like 2 second. Just because I was like, you know, I'm the only guy. And literally, okay, you're like, okay, Michael, how many times did you fumble the ball? Okay, let me tell you, 0. Like literally every single time, just like poop throw it. Got it. Got it. It's coming in from all over the place. Boom, you're out. You're out. Got it. You're out. No one could get past me. The only times when I couldn't do anything was when somebody had hit the ball so far that they'd already got past second base. I've got Facebook open. Is that Facebook? Or is it WhatsApp? Oh. Okay. Good news, everyone. There is cake. Oh, wait. Oh, that's boring. I'm closing this. Never mind. Okay, so I got so excited and now I'm kind of offended that, like, I thought, oh, I've been added to the group. But okay, like, somewhat disconcertingly, instead I've seen a whole new group has been created. Anyway, so yeah, when it was hit so far that they'd already got past second base before anyone even got the ball. But let me tell you, if they got the ball and someone's coming towards second base, they could count on me to just catch the ball, boom, you're out. Great. I was good. I was really good at rounders. Are you impressed? Are you all impressed? Thinking, wow, you know, like, oh, this guy, he's like super book smart. I guess book smart, is that the word? Yes. I guess he must be like really bad at sports. Wrong. I was catching the frisbees. I was catching the rounders. I was running. I'm not good at football though. Speaking of football, how about that England team winning? That's literally what I started off talking about. You know, England, they won the football. You know, like the Lionesses, they won in the football. Now we just have to wait until November for the World Cup. Are we all excited for the World Cup? Are we all happy about it? Are we all anticipating some major victories? Is Canada in it this year? I think they are. That's fun. So yeah, that's that. That's everything. Except for Monday. What happened on Monday? Monday I wasn't here for it at all because Monday I had the rash. Like I was noticing the rash at that point. So I had no enthusiasm for anybody's nonsense hanging out on the beach. Like I just couldn't be doing with the family. You know, I was like, oh goodness me. I'm just gonna be there itching and I'm gonna be like having to talk to people. So, you know, hang out for a little bit. But mostly I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home. So I went home. But then because like I'm not a total loser, I was like, yeah, you know, by the beach. I'll go swimming. So I went swimming. Oh, I didn't tell you that I ripped the crotch of my swimming trunks. Now, like, okay, it's all good and all that, but the thing is, so like the inner netting was like kind of keeping my modesty. Well, yeah. It was maintaining my modesty. But there was one moment where I sat down and legit, let's just say, you know, to keep this as PG as possible, the inner netting had kind of moved moved, that's the word for it, such that it was no longer sufficiently compensating for the gap in the outer fabric of my swimming trunks. Ipso facto, you could just see everything. And I think I caught it before anyone else did, but whatever. But yeah, so I went swimming. TMI. I feel like, let's be honest, that was, as far as I is concerned, that was pretty like reserved. I basically, I mean, to be fair, even then, like it's not that shocking of a thing. I mean, it's literally just like the In-Betweeners episode where Simon stars in the fashion show. That's it. Everyone knows that one. Yeah. Oh my God, someone literally just mentioned it. How is this? Oh, that's crazy. Lottie, I'm with you. Okay, yeah. Lottie and I were on the same wavelength. Um, I was literally thinking. I mean, to be fair, like obviously I'm on that wavelength because literally all I was thinking about the whole time. Um, like I was just remembering how she was like, it wasn't supposed to be funny. Why was everyone laughing? Yeah. Uh, in between us. Anyway, so then I um did I swam and then I went upstairs and I got back and I found out that my parents had been to get fish and chips without me. So, but I wasn't feeling that hungry, right? So I was like, okay, whatever. But then I realized, oh wait, the fish and chip shops will be closing soon. So I went to a fish and chip shop and it had quite the queue, which to be fair, every single fish and chip shop had a massive queue. At one point we literally like decided to split our forces and have several like different people waiting at different fish and chip shops just to see which one would have the queues move the fastest. Because we were like, well, we're not going to wait in fish and chip shop queues more than we need to. Good system. I think it did save us some time. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I don't even want fish and chips now, though. What I want is a kebab. So I was sat there in the lines of the fish and chip shop, Googling kebab. And I saw this place that said, best kebab in Weymouth. And then it said, zero point 0.1 miles away. And I was like, ah, wow, miracle. So I walked there and then like it was literally being painted, like it was like being done up, and I was like, okay, this is whatever. But then I get in, and it was a bit annoying because like it was like they did like deliveries, and like I could tell the guy was like dealing with like those because he kept like coming in making kebabs, either that or I don't know, like he was keeping some people hostage in the back room because he kept going into like the main kind of cooking area, making kebabs, and then walking into a room towards the back of the shop. And my theory is he was handing it to somebody who was going out and delivering food. That would be the least suspicious thing. But anyway, eventually I got my mixed doner kebab, and it was really good. It was good. Would I say the best kebabs in Weymouth? Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's the only kebabs I've had in Weymouth. The best kebabs I've ever had in the UK, though, really would have to be Okies in York. So there we go. That's my advice. If you ever go to, well, if you ever go to the UK, go to York. And if you ever go to York, if you live in the UK, go to York. Basically, I guess the conclusion here is go to York. And when you're in York, go to Okies. You know, Okies are really good, I say, with confidence that it hasn't gone remotely downhill since I was at university. Because, I mean, how could it? How would anyone let it? And, like, I'm not just saying that you're like, oh, you're just saying that because you were at uni, blah, blah, blah. No, I hated uni. I didn't hate it, but whatever. No, I didn't have any, like, rose-tinted glasses for uni. But it was just really good. York is so far. I don't know where you're from that, like, York is so far. I mean, it's not like the thing is like okay, fine, I guess it's far, but it's got like a direct train link to London. So it's like okay, either you have a car, in which case it's what like a 4 hour drive. I don't know, like, I'm not sure where you live. It's a 3 day, 3 hour walk away. Well, that's what I'm saying. See, get a train to London, train to York. I mean, admittedly, I very rarely did that when I was at uni. I usually got my mum to drive me up to Derby and do that. York doing carveries before they were a big thing. Yeah, I got a carvery in York once. I went on a little man date with one of my flatmates because he wanted to go to a carvery. I was like, I'll go to a carvery, so we cycled to have a carvery, and it was good. And I haven't had a carvery in so long. I'm really annoyed. There's too many things I haven't done ever since the government pretended COVID was a thing. Damn them. Yeah, okay. So, and sorry, I don't want to ignore the whole with with oregano rosemary water. I steep oregano in warm distilled water for a few hours. Strain it with cheesecloth, then add a few drops of rosemary oil. Now look, here's the thing. I will say this. I don't itch that often, such that like I'm pretty sure like the whole thing is like the reason I itch is because I get sunburn, and the whole reason I get sunburn is because I lack forethought. So I definitely lack the forethought to steep some rosemary in. Sorry, what was it? Some oregano in warm distilled water for a few hours. But no, for people who suffer from chronic itching, good advice. Do you think at this point it would be kind of farcical to actually start reacting to the Caelan Conrad video? Like, as if I haven't just been talking about nonsense for literally an hour? Because I kind of want to do it. Like, we've got to get some progress. Okay, screw it, we're doing it. Let's do it. Let's react to a Caelan Conrad video. By the way, Ash, have you considered the possibility that maybe Okies is to a different side of York, such that maybe it's just a little bit closer. Maybe it's only 3 days and 2 hours away. Yeah, I'm just thinking like, seeing as we're not watching, seeing as just thinking, is there anything else? Is this part 4? Well, part 4 is almost already fully edited, so what we're technically doing here is probably going to be the very tail end of part 4, and then the beginning of part 5. So okay, I suppose I should explain this. Basically, we're in like the conversion therapy bit, and there's a lot of it which is entirely irrelevant. Last week, because I was like aware of time flying while you're having fun, I was like, okay, I'm going to turn up to 1.5 speed, which some people got annoyed about because they were like, oh, I'd rather watch it. But there's a part 5. Well, look, here's the thing. Look, you got to bear in mind, there's literally, so right now we're on part 2 of the video series, and there are 3 parts. We are actually, like, I genuinely think we are quite close to keeping pace with the video. And I don't know, it depends how much more there is to say in the whole conversion therapy thing. By the way, on that note, Tavistock getting shut down, how about that? But yeah, okay, I genuinely think like we should do this because, yeah, we're on thingy. So what I'm gonna do, okay, we're gonna do a little intro thing just real quick, just because we need to. I feel like I look way too orange. Also, like, we're too far. I'm only just realizing we're too far this way. Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. So today we are going to be doing part 5 of our reaction to Caelan Conrad's series on how the gender critical movement is apparently a cult. So hope you enjoy. Hopefully we'll make some progress in this video. There you go. That's it. How about that? How about that? So now what we do is we do. Shall I record the outro as well? Like now? Like if I record the what's the point in waiting? I mean, it would just like it would create a lack of continuity in the chat. But since when have I cared about that? Good rhyme. Well done, Michael. You're a poet. You didn't even know that you were one. Sorry, I'm fiddling with some blue tack and I keep messing it up. Okay, no more blue tack. Right. Yeah, we'll do the outro too. This is going to really confuse all the people who aren't aware of the fact that I'm recording the outro specifically for the edited video and are going to think that I'm ending the stream. I'll be so confused. Right, everyone. So that was the end of part 5. And I feel like, see, sometimes I want to like say something else, like some kind of conclusion, but obviously I can't really do that when I haven't really watched the majority of, well, any of part 5. Like I don't know what's going to be said in part 5, so I'm just gonna um that would be really funny. All right, everyone. So that was the end of part 5. There was no amazing point in the video that meant I had to redo the outro. Because I'm recording this in advance, and I can guarantee right now, even though I'm recording this before I've actually watched any of the content that's going to make it into the edited part 5, that none of it was good and none of it changed my mind. How's that for being open to new ideas? Anyway, so I hope you do like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Let me know what you think, etc., etc. Want to go on Patreon? That's cool. Want to go on PayPal? That's cool. I feel like we're probably coming up on the end of like the period where I can kind of reasonably be promoting the Amazon stuff anymore. Like, let's be real. If you haven't done it yet, then you're not going to do it. But you might do it now. Now that I've said that, now I've kind of added this sense of finality to it. Like, this is the last time I'm going to promote it. Maybe I should have mentioned it in the intro, actually. Just in case people weren't aware. You know, because some people just don't know. Like, I feel like some people just don't watch all the way to the outro because they think it's too long and rambly. But, like, if I did include it, let's do it now. Hey everyone, I'm just adding this to the beginning of the intro to say that if you don't watch the end of the outro, then you should know that I'm going to stop promoting the Amazon thing where you can buy me books on gender identity using my Amazon wishlist, and then I will read them, and then you will feel happy that you got me a present for my birthday. And on my birthday, maybe on my birthday, although I don't know if I should give away the exact date of my birthday because I feel like that's kind of sensitive information. So around my birthday, which is mid-August, so maybe just, I don't know, 15th of August, whatever. Maybe 20th of August, actually. So that way you'll know it's definitely after my birthday, because my birthday is mid-August, which of course is like from the 10th to the 20th. Yeah, okay, that's a good system. I will open them and say thank you to people. So there you go. That's something you can do. Right. Okay, there we go. Just added that into the intro. Really good job, me. And apart from that, I'll just say thank you to my current patrons. Boom. I like it. How do I nail it? So like it's like I'm an expert, like I'm just professional or something. Are you kidding me? Like, let's do it. Let's fall in love. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, everybody. Conversion therapy.
The reasons why an adult would need to step in, like reporting said abuse, are many and well documented. But Maria, being gender critical, needs to paint a world where only outside forces are a harm to children. Specifically, she likens youth programs for gay and trans people to child predator grooming, calling perpendicular and irrational comparisons perfect parallels, while providing no evidence for her claims, which is, of course, the standard of evidence for her beliefs. None. This is made painfully evident by the fact that her sources are largely her own website, right-wing blogs that publish think pieces about deep issues like anti-maskers are being treated like gays during the AIDS crisis. Explicitly anti-trans websites like transgendertrend.com, informal surveys she herself has conducted that she has admitted to deleting information from because she deemed it contradictory or otherwise irrelevant. Her own YouTube videos. Graham Linehan's pay-to-read, whining, mincing little diatribes on Substack, where he posts about important gender-critical social experiments, like his experience being a straight man pretending to be a woman on lesbian dating apps. The thing is, almost none of her claims even attempt to put on airs of credibility. She makes claims like,
the parent-child relationship has been respected and honored throughout human history and across cultures. Until now.
With no citations. Whether she is aware that this is not true, that white supremacy and colonialism has consistently degraded and disrespected the parent-child relationship, I don't know.
Okay, like I don't really care, but like that was I wasn't sure where that was going to go in terms of that claim not being true. Um, but so I guess the claim is that actually, apparently, like so the claim I guess is that Western European culture did not enshrine the relationship between parents and children as something of intrinsic value, and it's like but like that's where the whole idea of the nuclear family came from. I can't really get my head around the idea of somebody offering up Western European culture as a counterexample to the claim that the parent child relationship has been historically regarded as something significant and I guess of some kind of intrinsic value, because that is a reality. And like the thing is, okay, I suppose I should point out the specific claim made was, well, they degraded it via colonialism. So okay, maybe they didn't degrade it in their own kind of Western European cultures, but they sought to degrade it in other cultures. But the point is, they they were doing that presumably because they thought it was a bad thing in order to kind of negatively affect the cultures they were trying to colonialize and subjugate, meaning that they presumably therefore recognized that the parent child relationship is a good thing or something, let's say, that makes society stronger, that actually has positive effects on society, something that they basically did regard with respect. But the point is, that's why they specifically targeted it as something to undermine in order to undermine other cultures. That would seem like an obvious reason why they did that. And that would seem far more logical than suggesting that they didn't think that there was any value to the parent child relationship when actual Western European society would directly contradict that. So there you go, bit of a weird claim.
All I know is the truth, that she's wrong.
Side note, it's kind of funny that when I was like talking about like nonsense to do with my weekend, we had like almost 40 viewers, but now I'm actually doing the like stated purpose of this video. We've gone down, which I'm not taking as an insult. I'm taking it as like people don't even care about Caelan's nonsense anymore.
White women maternalists leveraged their roles as white mothers, even though many of them were single and child-free. They claimed that because they were women, they were much better placed than white men to understand and respond to the needs of Indigenous women and their children. This professed valorization of motherhood did not extend to Indigenous mothers, whom they disparaged as sexually immoral and unfit for motherhood. If white women were the only true women, then by the same token, white mothers were the only true mothers. They saw their role not as depriving Indigenous children of their families, but as rescuing and saving them from their uncivilized parents.
White women and men also owned black children and could do with them as they wished under the law without any regard for the.
I sorry, I just wanted to. I find it hilarious how like tangential this whole thing is. Like it's just one of those things. Like oh my god, here's the thing. Like this is literally like I don't know if this is a term. But it's a term I'm now coining now. Citation nerds. Like when you say something that I think is kind of obvious and just like most people would be like, yeah, that's just true. And then like someone comes along and goes like, citation, and then they like kind of just nitpick the point. Like, and that's all this is. It's nitpicking the point. Like, yes, nobody's saying that literally every single instance, like every single culture thought that the parent-child dynamic was to be totally respected above everything else. Sometimes, in the interest of, I guess, like racism and classism and whatever else, they would view that as superseding the parent-child relationship. But it's still pretty obvious that throughout, like, the broad claim of throughout history, the parent child relationship has been respected in basically every culture is something that's true. And it's something that you should be able to say without some citation nerd coming along and being like, like, and like offering up their stupid kind of boring nitpicks, which by the way are so massively irrelevant to the rest of the like the actual point being made here that I'm probably only going to include this in the edited video simply because I want to point out how irrelevant it is, and also because if I only included stuff that was like relevant to gender critical talking points, I kind of suspect that this video wouldn't actually have anything in it.
The parents. The privilege and ignorance in a claim like Maria's, tossed out so freely and confidently, is indicative of the level of research, evidence, scrutiny, empathy, and understanding she employs when making claims. And the method through which she chooses which claims of hers require a source appears to be totally random. She consistently makes claims that would be verifiable if true, but provides no verification, and then adds sources for things that aren't verifiable, like opinions. Like, for instance, she says that anyone attempting to interfere in a child's abuse or treatment, unless it is extreme, is a predator tactic to separate the child from the parent. For this, she did include a source. But it wasn't a study or crime statistics, nah. It was Graham Linehan's blog. That blog also provides no actual evidence of these claims. It's just recycling propaganda and citing each other as sources. It bears saying that in the case of an abusive parent or parents, often the only possibility a child may have for help is if an outside adult intervenes. This act in itself, the act of showing concern for the well-being of a child in the cult and challenging the parent's ultimate authority to Maria, makes them untrustworthy. Let me remind you of Maria's description of a key factor of a cult.
A sharp and unyielding divide is created between good people and bad people, right thought and wrong thought, moral actions and reprehensible behavior. Dangerous, immoral, and hateful. The cult has indoctrinated the child with the belief that those outside the cult are dangerous, toxic, and hostile.
Compare that to another quote of hers, which reads,
Every adult who hides from you his or her interactions with your child is treacherous, dangerous, and toxic to your child and your family.
and you'll see what an actual parallel is, Maria. See how they follow the same line of thinking? Parallel to each other? She really said, isn't it so spooky how cults make you think that those outside the cult are dangerous and toxic? Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, completely unrelated tangent, but have you ever noticed how everyone outside the gender critical community is dangerous and toxic?
Okay, I need to, this is not going in the edited version, but, this is the second time, so I remember, even though it was all the way back on Thursday, I remember this exact same thing being brought up of, look, she said one thing here, and then she directly contradicted herself in a kind of hypocritical way. And it's yeah, this woman seems like she's kind of a bit silly. Again, I'll remind you in case you need reminding. Oh yeah, okay, you noticed that too. They said indoctrinated, right? I didn't really care, but it was kind of funny. In case anyone's not clear, this woman who's being spoken about here also, oh my god, look at that face. Look at that face. I'm so good at this. Is it just that everybody I respond to pulls hilariously dumb faces all the time? Or am I just really good at pausing on them? I think it's that they're very performative, right? Because I don't think if you pause a random photo of me, that I might look kind of dumb, I might look kind of goofy, but I don't think I'd look that ridiculous. I don't think I would look like some kind of I want to say frisky velociraptor. Is that a fair? Is that are we going for that? Yeah. I don't know. It's just funny, isn't it? Yeah. The fact they're so performative, I don't know. It does remind me of the fact. I think I already mentioned I spoke to somebody who apparently knows ContraPoints personally, and I'm inclined to believe they're right. And that person revealed to me that Contra actually finds most of these Contra copycats very annoying. Which I'm, again, you could say, oh, is that confirmation bias? But I choose to believe it's true. But yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree. The idea is just LARPing. It's all LARPing. Anyway, so the point I want to make is that this book that's being responded to is by some random Catholic woman who seems to be kind of just a pure grifter. So I don't really care. I literally have I didn't even know, and several people in the chat when this book was being introduced, last session, were saying they had no idea this book existed, so whatever. I'm literally playing Civilization in the background just because I'm waiting until something interesting is said. And I'm not, a proper streamer, so I'm not going to put up the Civilization footage. It's a very casual game. I'm just playing like the standard Earth 18 Civs map as Persia.
The lack of self-awareness. And it's not only people outside the cult in your family that are antagonists and grooming pedophiles.
You know what? Someone pointed out this person is Canadian, and I just heard it there. People outside. Like, I've heard that, like, that specific kind of thing. I think YMS does it too. Outside. Let's listen to that again. Just so we can all learn how to pronounce our accents properly. Oh, wait.
And it's not only people outside the cult in your
Outside.
family that are antagonists and grooming pedophiles, but people inside.
Are we talking about people liking? Everyone like this video, and everyone get their fingers over the like button, and in 3, 2, 1, like spike. I'm not actually gonna look at the likes though, so you know, like, did that make a difference? I don't really want to know, because if it didn't make a difference, I'll just be embarrassed and cry.
Inside the family as well. She proposes 2 options for people who aren't default protectors.
2 choices, yo: pull over the car or bounce on the pedal, put the metal to the floor. Is that how it goes?
Antagonists. Cut them out or test the waters and then decide.
It's probably not worth expending a lot of energy on arguments about gender ideology with these extended family members, unless you think you can pique them.
Pique them, as a reminder, is analogous to red pill them. Basically means convert or recruit. And for the family members who won't be converted, who continue to call your child by their name and pronouns and respect that, well, they're predators.
The only people who sneak around with children are predators. Even if it's your sweet Aunt Millicent, who just can't see what's wrong with letting Elijah call himself Ellie.
Aunt Millicent's like,
The fuck did I do now? Jesus Christ, can you talk about literally anything else for a fucking second and leave the kid alone, Maria? I swear, we're all so sick of your shit.
the goals in A Parent's Guide to Preventing Homosexuality are...
Well, this is an interesting one. Japan converted to Islam. I really do feel like that's a good fit for them.
To help overcome your own child's gender identity confusion. The goals stated by Maria for parents are as follows. For the child to accept reality and his or her body and birth sex. Again, for any Marias out there, parallel. She says this goal can be accomplished through things like isolating the child by cutting as many affirming family, friends, and neighbors as possible. Suggesting manipulation techniques described as strategic conversations whereby we can plant questions and seeds of doubt. Seeds of doubt being thought-terminating cliches, outright lies, bogus stats, and fear-mongering.
1. We focus always on the end goal, for the child to accept reality and his or her body or birth sex. 2. We develop a team of protagonists to help us work toward our goal. 3. We strive to cut off from relationship with our child as many antagonists as possible. 4. We work to improve our entire relationship with our child and to try to minimize how much of the child's life revolves around gender ideology. 5. Our team prepares for and anticipates opportunities to have strategic conversations with the child where...
Lol, not go animate. Oh, I wasn't even paying attention. I've not been looking at the visuals. The irony of calling GC a cult and then equating Pete trans to red pilling, that's just propaganda. Yeah, like these, yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, so with this video, this is definitely like, this whole video is definitely like peaching. This whole video is definitely like, this specific part, I mean, like the whole thing is preaching to the choir, but this specific part is definitely preaching to the choir. Like, if you have not bought into Caelan's nonsense yet, then this part is just so boring. Because it's not even like saying, it's basically just being like, hey, we all know how gender critical people are a cult like. Well, this is, oh, sorry, a cult like. And so like, hey, this is, we all know that gender critical people are a cult, right? Well, this is how they're a cult. And it's like, obviously, if you've not bought into that nonsense claim that the gender critical movement is a cult, then this bit's kind of irrelevant to you. Like, this is kind of like, the best analogy I can make I don't want to make this analogy because I think not Louis C.K., C.S. Lewis is a great author and a decent person. I think Mere Christianity is a good book. But having said that, I feel like this is a lot like well, actually, you know what? I can probably just give it a broad analogy. It's a lot like in any kind of like religious apologetics book, where eventually, most of the time, the author will take it for granted that they have convinced you of their point. So if it's a book defending Catholicism or Islam or Christianity or whatever else, they'll like probably spend the first maybe even half of the book or whatever, spend some amount of time of the book trying to convince you of some basic kind of key premises and some contentious premises. And then if they want the book to have maybe a bit more substance, they'll probably start moving on to some slightly more elaborate premises, elaborate conclusions as well. And based on that, you need to have accepted their core premises. And essentially, this is like the part in the book where you are just reading all of the conclusions and being entirely unaffected by it because you haven't accepted any of the core premises. That's where we're at, just in case anybody wanted an entirely unnecessary analogy.
Whereby we can plant questions and seeds of doubt about the gender industry's doctrine.
It's so weird that, like, these people are reading this book and don't think that she might be manipulating them, but she's already talked about the ways that she's going to manipulate them. She plants seeds of doubt and fear in them as well. She's literally saying, I manipulate people. And they're saying, she sounds really honest, I should believe her.
I mean, to be fair, that is kind of honest, right? Like, if you're admitting to manipulating people, I mean, like if I said, hey guys, I'm going to manipulate you. You could not like that, but you can definitely agree that I'm at least being surprisingly honest. The effects. There are a lot of effects in this video. They seem to be being used in place of substantive arguments. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I don't think she says planting seeds of fear. I think a lot of this is just like rephrasing things to make them sound as worse as they can, or as bad as they can sound.
Now, what I don't see discussed often is the reaction to a parent putting you through this, manipulating and isolating you, speaking to you as if you're not even worth listening to. Like, what happens when the child resists this isolation, being pulled out of school, told that they can't see their favorite Aunt Millicent anymore, and are not allowed to speak to their friends because they might be gay or trans? What happens to a child who fights back, says, no, I am who I say I am, and you're wrong about me? Something gay children have said to homophobic parents for decades, who have told their children it was a phase, or it was a sin, or it was a disorder, or they were in a cult. What does a parent do then when children are upset and, to quote Maria, start behaving like cretinous little ingrates? Well, definitely still love them. Don't stop doing that. But if they don't obey your demands, then of course,
They go to Kid Hell. Mom and Dad are the gatekeeper and the keymaster of Kid Hell. Kid Hell is the place your child least wishes to be. It's the environment or situation he will do anything to avoid.
While Maria describes children as behaving like deranged little savages and clever, selfish, willful, manipulative, and obstinate, she still says they need love. But to her, that translates to being tough.
We must lower our
I really like the idea of Kid Hell. Going to Kid Hell.
heads, steel our nerves, and meet the challenge. You must commit from the outset to stay the course and never give up.
And never give up. So no matter what it is doing to your kids, your family, or yourself, no matter what, always do what Maria has told you. You have to commit to converting your child, no matter how many times they run away, or self-harm, or call the authorities to report you. And the reason is that you have to remember, a trans child is not your child. It is the thing that took over your child. There's a lot of like Catholic demon possession vibes going on in the way Maria discusses trans identities.
Try back to the fact that somebody's already pointed out that So Clive Simpson, is that his name? Would feel really embarrassed if I got his name wrong. But I've been watching quite a few of his videos recently because I only recently discovered him. So that's, if I'm getting his name wrong, that's why. But he has a whole video on how one of the kind of key advocates for the trans movement is actually a former key advocate for kind of the whole satanic panic thing. That actually there is an overlap between the people who believe that kids can be born in the wrong body and people who believe that kids might actually be demons possessed by Satan. And of course, that's not really surprising. It's not surprising to me that actually there is more overlap between the satanic panic parents and kind of movement of the 90s and the, like trans affirming, gender critical people trying to, make your kids commit suicide movement that is going on right now. But having said that, of course, this person in this case is a Catholic, and that's one reason why, it's a bit weird to hold them up as representative of the gender critical movement, which is, by the way, not Catholic, overwhelmingly not Catholic. It's just a bit weird.
She doesn't even try to use pseudoscience to make her case. It is entirely a metaphysical one.
You are actually dealing with two different people. Your child's true identity and the cult identity. Pulling your child out of the cult really means helping the child rediscover and love his or her true self so the false and destructive cult self can be discarded. You're probably dealing with your child's true identity when she/he remembers events accurately. She/he sounds like him or herself, using language, inflections, and subjects that you recognize as part of the child's real personality or interests. She/he is relaxed and non-combative and seems relatively at peace. You're likely dealing with a cult identity when memories of events are distorted or fabricated. The child's words sound scripted or programmed, filled with sloganeering and language that's particular to the cult. She/he is tense, angry, combative, and seems to be looking for a fight or a reason to leave.
Maria claims that there are two identities in a child, a true one and a cult one. The agreeable one, the one that speaks as if they aren't educated on trans identities, that's the real child, the one you love. The one that is trans is not your child at all. It's a mask of lies. That child should be discarded. She suggests parents starve out the trans identity, cut it off from its food sources, challenge its assumptions and assertions, do not give in
Challenge its assumptions and assertions? That's so cult-like.
To its unacceptable demands and give it no quarter. These unacceptable demands are things like your teenage daughter saying, "I've asked you not to call me that, and it breaks my heart when you treat me this way. When you don't respect my pronouns, you're really hurting me." That's the demon talking. Don't trust it. According to DDD, you can't begin to trust that it's really your child coming back until the child starts making a choice of clothing, hairstyle, activity that is representative of his or her old style of her.
Oh, no, that's no good. I don't know but if anybody's claiming to be gender critical and this is a book that actually discourages gender nonconformity in kids, then I don't know. It's not surprising to me that I've literally never heard of this book before from anybody until Caelan Conrad is mentioning it here. But yeah, that is not gender critical belief. That sounds like Catholic traditionalism, not the gender critical movement.
Personality, or of something stereotypical of his or her birth sex. This is, as well, mirrored in preventing homosexuality. So your daughter shaving her legs or son not shaving his legs is a sign that they're becoming healthy and happy again, because nothing says happy and healthy.
Oh yeah, because radical feminists really love when women shave their legs. It's just they just can't get enough of it.
Like a teenager being shamed into shaving their legs to be less gender incongruent. So their gender critical parent will feel more comfy with their child's body. Although she notes that this phase of submitting to the parents' demands often doesn't last, as the child will often go right back to how they were before the parents just tried to convert them. But in a wild move, she thinks this is somehow an unknown phenomenon, which she dubs boomeranging.
Parents whose kids have successfully left the gender cult describe a strange phenomenon that seems to be common among desisters and detransitioners. The parents will begin to have successful interactions during which the child may grow silent rather than continue to argue, or may even agree that the parent has made a good point. Such moments are signs that the cult identity is weakening, and the true self is emerging and re-engaging the child's mind. The fascinating and frustrating experience the parents report, however, is that very often after the parent observes one of these encouraging signs, the child boomerangs hard back into the cult identity. The child's cult identity attacks the parent with whom the true identity had a positive interaction, perhaps out of the blue, accusing the parent of being transphobic or hateful, yada yada.
Boomeranging would be like your trans boy kid giving in and shaving his legs before going swimming, then letting it grow back out and refusing to give in again.
There seems to be no research or data on this phenomena, which I call boomeranging, but anecdotal evidence is emerging regularly.
But anecdotal evidence. I like when people can't say words properly. Anecdotal evidence. There we go. That's it. Just the word was wrong. Yeah, this is like, it's so boring.
Hey, Miss Boomerang? There actually is evidence of this. It's right here. What you refer to as boomeranging is just conversion therapy doing what it always does, failing. The conclusion is that conversion therapy does not work and at best creates temporary results that the parent favors.
That does make sense, because I know when a lot of people tried to use conversion therapy against Kira Bell so that she wouldn't be a lesbian anymore, that failed. So I can agree that actual conversion therapy does seem to fail. The conversion therapy that is going on right now of trying to trans gay men into being trans women and trans lesbians into being trans men. That is a therapy, a conversion therapy that does not work, that causes damage and harm to the children it's inflicted upon, and ultimately many of them are able to resist that and get out of the movement, such as Kira Bell. So there we go. I do agree that conversion therapy does not work.
But ultimately causes lifelong trauma to the child subjected to it. There's no boomeranging.
By the way, actually, on subject of lifelong trauma, I already mentioned Clive Simpson, and a video I was listening to recently basically was talking about how, like, obviously during your formative years in puberty, it's not just your body that develops, your brain develops too. And of course that makes sense, because you think about how a lot of the time kids, it's pretty clear that their brain is not like functioning as an adult brain. Like, I mean, I think we're pretty clear on that. Like, there is this idea that you don't just mature physically, you mature mentally and emotionally. And while part of that is like kind of increased experiences in life, another big part of that is an actual physiological change that happens with puberty. And again, I guess maybe just a link in the description to the video itself. But there is, at least based on that, a speculative reason to be concerned that one of the reasons why detransitioners, of course, have so many kind of mental health issues, and one of the reasons why even transitioned, trans-identifying people have such obvious mental health issues, is because of the negative effect on their mental development that young, early transition can have. So yes, you are literally causing lifelong trauma to the lesbians that you try to turn into men because of your anti-gay conversion therapy.
Wonder why all she would include was an allusion to anecdotal evidence, when that evidence is readily available. She does that a lot. Hey. Does that seem sinister to anyone else? But the prospect that all these parents are wrong is never framed by her as even a viable possibility, but rather the parents are...
Unlike all of the, willing recognition we've had of the idea that people who affirm trans identity might be wrong. I mean, of course, like, here's the thing, if your argument is, like, if you're criticizing somebody for not entertaining the idea that they could be wrong, you've got a problem, because at no point in this video has the idea that trans identity could be wrong been considered for a second. Indeed, it's been desperately avoided as a possibility. So that's kind of interesting. In fact, literally, I think Caelan's literally said, like, I refuse to engage with the question. Like, way back at the beginning, Caelan was like, I'm not going to talk about whether or not trans women are women. I'm not going to talk about whether or not trans men are men. And it's like, okay, so you're refusing to, and very explicitly refusing, to engage with the question of whether or not you could be wrong. So if you're going to criticize this person, and again, I have no interest in defending this particular individual, but if you're going to criticize them for that and imply that makes them kind of cult-like, well, you got a problem, because that then turns around on you.
Are cast out on a hero's journey to save their child from the clutches of the pedophile Democrats in the basement of a pizza park. Wait, that's QAnon. This is TAnon. Sorry. Save their child from the clutch.
Actually, Q is a good guy and hero in the QAnon idea. So that would make it like TAnon would be the opposite, because T would imply that the trans person is like the authority.
Clutches of the pedophile democrats in your school's gay straight alliance meeting. The fear of harm she instills in these parents is directed outwards, always, never inwards. Instead, she comforts the parents that think they might be doing something wrong and says that they must
care well for themselves as they're struggling on this journey with a transgender identified child. You are pouring unconditional.
I'm slightly annoyed at the fact that the must wasn't even synced up there. Like,
be doing something wrong and says that they
must care well for themselves.
And says that, like, it would have been so easy to sync the musts up there, so it would have worked better.
Instead, she comforts the parents that think they might be doing something wrong and says that they must
care.
Like, you can hear the must from Caelan so much more before the thingy. I don't know, it just seems like stupid. Like, literally, I mean, this is a very minor thing, but I literally did this in a in one of my film review things. I had this bit where Ray says, "This is the Millennium Falcon," and I also wanted to include the bit in the Red Letter Media thing where Rich Evans reacts to the Force Awakens trailer and says, "Well, I might actually find it. I'm gonna find it right now." So let's see, how do I do this? What would be a good way to do this? Do it like this. Manage videos. Gotta show Caelan how it's done. It's like super easy to do. Just like cut it in the right place or like edit it in the right place. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. I just felt like it. So Force Awakens. Oh, that didn't work. Wait. Oh, click the wrong thing. Oh, you know, I could literally play it well. Hey. Oh, is it episode 7? Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going to copy. Hope we've got nothing embarrassing here. Oh, phew. Could have been scary. See if we can find it.
A lot of people.
You know what? I just realized it's not even in this. Ah, screw it. No, I can't be able to find it actually because I just realized it's in a different video. But basically, it's actually, no, screw it. I can't be able to find it. Basically, it's just a bit where like I cut it so like one person saying one thing goes into a different person saying another thing, and it was like super easy to do. So I just wanted to be like, it's just funny that there was like a failure to do it there.
Care well for themselves as they're struggling on this journey with a transgender identified child. You are pouring unconditional, tough, and determined love into your child, devoting time and attention to seize every opportunity to interact with your child in the ways that will draw him or her back into the family and into reality, while at the same time battling all the forces of the culture that are trying to snare and keep hold of your child. This may be the hardest work you ever do as a parent.
Not this deranged woman saying that these parents dragging children kicking and screaming into isolation while fending off CPS and doctors are brave soldiers in some sort of fucking holy war. That imagery, I cannot with Maria. There's exactly one piece of advice she gives that I think is actually valid.
Except that you may lose your child.
In fact, She tells them that they already feel like they have, not suggests they might feel that way, tells them that that has already happened. They already feel this way.
Additionally, when a person announces a transgender identity, the effect on family and friends is similar to experiencing the death of a loved one.
Hi, Goose. It's quite a big assumption that someone coming out as trans makes everyone feel like they just had someone they loved die. I've had people I love die. I've watched people I love waste away and leave behind nothing at all. I can't talk to them. I can't hold
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Stupid, sexy Flanders.
them, tell them that they were always loved. That permanent, insurmountable distance that grief is made of is one of the most difficult things to face. And that loss, that death is real, not a metaphor you can force on someone else. And I've also had people I loved come out as trans, seeing them flourish and grow into confident, kind people. To liken those two experiences shows how supremely limited gender critical ideology is, that their experiences are assumed to be universal. They do try and use the argument that trans people use the phrase dead name, so they should be able to treat them as if they died and been replaced by someone else. But it's dead name, not dead person. The name is dead. All the information you needed is in those two words. Anything else you're seeing? You added that in yourself. I'm sure some people who transition do feel that a metaphorical death has occurred. But you can't just put that on every trans person. DDD goes out of its way to create the absolute worst image of trans kids in the reader's minds. She paints trans kids as frequent bullies.
The transgender identified child will likely try to bully everyone into submitting to preferred names, pronouns, and beliefs about identity and personhood. A younger child in the household is especially at risk of being manipulated and coerced into behaving according to the transgender identified child's wishes.
Source. For evidence of this, she offers quotes with no source, either due to her not feeling the need to back up her claims at all, or because they're examples she created and then intentionally left the origins open-ended. As you can tell from reading them, they likely were fiction she created. They're very much a cis-straight boomer's perspective on what trans people sound like. It's a caricature. Here's an example of this bullying she says is likely to happen. Content warning, some of these are fucking hilarious.
I'll turn off my music so you can go to sleep after you name 5 different genders. Watch this YouTube video about misgendering, or I'll tell everyone at school about how you suck your thumb while you sleep.
So I mean, pretty obvious that I genuinely think Caelan might have something wrong with the inability to actually recognize the obvious social function of what people are doing. These are clearly not being presented as actual things that somebody would say. I refuse to believe anybody is genuinely trying to present what was it? Sorry, let's just get it up.
Turn off my music so you can go to sleep after you name 5 different genders.
Okay, yeah, so there we go. There it is. I'll turn off my music so you can go to sleep after you name 5 different genders. Now, like I say, I have been quite consistently showing I have no interest in defending this random Catholic person who I've never heard of. But I am going to say with quite a degree of confidence that even somebody as, I think, presumably boomerish as that is not genuinely trying to pass this off as a serious comment. Maybe it's just because I'm too internet savvy and socially adept, but maybe this person is literally as ridiculous as Caelan and thinks this should be taken seriously. But I think every single intelligent, socially intelligent person is reading this and thinking, okay, this isn't actually being presented as something people are sincerely saying. Rather, this is being presented as a hyperbolic, humorous demonstration of the type of nonsense trans-identified people could say. It's like the attack helicopter joke. If somebody quotes the attack helicopter thing, they're not saying a trans-identified person has actually said it. They're presenting it as an example of the kind of stupid thing that a trans-identified person could say based on their logic and attitude. It's that simple. I don't. Maybe actually, there is a possible world in which this was posted by somebody as a joke, and then Maria, is that the name of this person, posted it as like took it seriously. That's possible. I don't think, by the way, it's at all possible that Maria came up with this quote herself, because like if or rather, let me say, I don't think it's possible Maria came up with this quote herself with the intention of passing it off as sincere, because somebody who is aware enough of internet culture to come up with the name 5 different blahdy-blahs meme, I don't think would be simultaneously so detached from the irony of internet culture to be trying to pass this off as a sincere statement. Point being, either way, I think Caelan Conrad, again, seems to have no idea about like the actual intention of words being said, and a worrying, distressing, horrendously sad inability to recognize sarcasm, humor, and of course, this actually extends from the fact that Kevin Conrad has insisted on presenting all people who are critical of trans identity as being like evil, barely even human, devoid of any emotions besides disgust and fear. So the idea of like actually having fun with a funny little goofy quote about naming 5 genders is outside of Caelan's like frame of reference for how a gender critical, or rather, let me stress, this person is 100% not gender critical. This person is just critical of trans identity, but they're clearly not gender critical because they're literally talking about affirming like gender conformity, but how somebody who is critical of trans identity might behave.
Watch this YouTube video about misgendering, or I'll tell everyone at school about how you suck your thumb while you sleep.
Nobody cares if someone sucks their thumb. I swear to God, this is so out of left field.
I'm not responding.
Like, Caelan Conrad, recognize obvious joke challenge.
To my dead name anymore. If you call me that, I'll not only ignore you, I'll hit you.
Number 1, hitting someone is not ignoring them. Number 2, who speaks like that? Nobody ever has ever.
So I think, okay, so someone's saying that Maria has a channel. I really have to like message Maria and be like, hey, Maria, these quotes being presented, like, what's the deal with them? Because I struggle to believe that Maria, if like his thing, if she is like internet savvy enough to have a YouTube channel, I refuse to believe that she has presented these quotes sincerely. Like, it seems just so obvious to me these quotes have to be being presented as like a humorous little, like I say, goofy, hyperbolic example of the kind of nonsense a trans-identified person might say. Not the kind of thing that like it's not being presented as this is what they're actually saying in reality.
If you don't use the pronouns
Like there was a thumb sucking. Oh, it gets me.
I want, I'll kill myself. When I die, it'll be your fault.
If she's capable of self-reflection, I imagine one day she's going to look back on this and really cringe. Although I doubt cringe is going to be high on her list of problems given everything else she's done.
Therapy.
As we discussed in part 1, therapy is seen as a dangerous thing for gender-critical parents, as the therapist may either affirm the child's gender or contact authorities about the parent's actions. But regardless, some parents are going to need to bring their child to a therapist, especially if the child hasn't been fully isolated and indoctrinated yet. Lots of kids deal with mental illness. For example, a child with OCD may need to go get cognitive behavioral therapy, regardless of anything else. In this case, she suggests that when trying to find a therapist, find one that is cult ideology approved. So to do this, just drop in a couple dog whistles like the words transgenderism and ideology. This will cause a response that will give away that they follow approved medical standards for trans kids and should be avoided by gender-critical parents. Despite describing the possibility of a child self-harming due to the parent's actions earlier, she advises that if you can't afford a therapist who agrees with you, it's worth considering that no therapy might be better than harmful therapy.
Obviously.
Imagine believing that being trans is so horrendous that you'd rather deny your child medical care than have a doctor call them pronouns you object to. Of course, kids grow up and become adults. But if the child is an adult, then they have the option to choose their own therapist. Maria suggests that if, say, your 20-year-old son happens to be on your insurance provider, she proposes outright lying to the child and saying that the therapist they want to see isn't covered, and only the therapist who agrees with the parent is covered. Saying,
Few teens or young adults really understand how insurance policies work, so you may be able to use that pretense to exert some influence over who sees your child.
Her defense of controlling and manipulating adult children seems to be a few things. She sees trans children as mentally unfit, and as such cannot possibly consent to any permanent decisions, including as adults. Secondly, she makes the very bold and even more baseless claim that the child may have matured to the point that the former identity doesn't line up with his or her chronological age. Meaning, if your child comes out as trans at 13, and now years after conversion therapy is 18 and agreeing to be the gender you want, they may still actually mentally be 13 or 15, somewhere before 18. She thinks this because she posits that the trans identity and the true identity aren't the same person. So the true identity hasn't been growing up. It's been locked away. This is, of course, patently fucking ridiculous. Kids that detransition.
I mean, that sounds like it's kind of, like it's saying like this is patently ridiculous. To me, it sounds highly credible. But let's see why it's patently ridiculous.
Don't return to a former point in time to who they used to be. They're still the same person with all the knowledge and experience at the same age, just with a different identity.
I feel like that's really just nonsense because it's suggesting that like having a fundamentally different view of who you are can't slow down your emotional maturation, and also, of course, that developing or let's say, dramatically changing your conception of yourself won't cause you to have to kind of readjust many of the kind of much of the emotional development you've undergone, such that it will take you back. I think I will say it's silly to suggest that you would literally like obviously if a kid like starts identifying as trans at 9 and then they detransition at 18, obviously they're not going to go back to when they're 9. But yeah, I can imagine them feeling like they might go back some distance in terms of being like, oh, actually, you know what, I really need to kind of recalibrate stuff in line with having now brought their perception of themselves in line with reality. That would seem to be a pretty credible claim.
Her understanding of trans children is based around a very metaphysical claim. It is not rooted in biology at all. Of course, she has no evidence for this claim, but leaves us a few leading open-ended questions and the phrase,
"No research exists at this time."
The point of this is to regress the adult child in the parent's mind. Because if your adult child is really still however old they were when they first came out to you, then your authority as a parent can extend well into adulthood. Like how Maria says that she plans to continue monitoring her children's
Japan just converted from Islam to Christianity.
emails, even during years most people would be in university or college. I was waiting until after you understood who Dr. Joseph Nicolosi was and what his theory of homosexual males were to share this reply to my earliest post in the group, the one about my issues with my adult gay son.
Looking at Dr. Joseph Nicolosi's theory of homosexualities in males. It's on YouTube.
It is this gender critical activist suggesting a theory that my son was not actually gay, but a gender 6 straight man who suffers from homosexuality that led me to reading A Parent's Guide to Preventing Homosexuality. Less than a few days in the group, and members are already trying to get me to think my son's gayness was a dysfunction to be removed, even though I had only asked for help with my son being non-binary.
Again, it's worth noting that early on, like Caelan Conrad has already admitted that the overwhelming response was people saying that they rejected the homophobia of Caelan's made-up mum character. So, like, basically saying, oh, but then there's one person directing me to stuff, which is like, okay, so one person on one random Facebook group, who cares? Like, genuinely, who cares? Like, And again, I don't even have to show that the majority of gender critical people do not support homophobic nonsense, because Caelan's already shown that by like the admission of what was spoken about like way back in part 1. So like I don't know, like thank you, Caelan, for contradicting your own point. You've really made this easy for me.
In general, the parents follow the same methods of conversion therapy that DDD suggests. Any or all of the following will occur in an attempt to isolate the child from anyone the parents deem a threat to their authority as parents. Keep in mind, this isn't just on young children. This is being done to legal adults who are still under their parents' control, no longer providing physical care. For example, skipping yearly checkups to avoid the children being able to discuss their dysphoria with a doctor, no longer providing recommended mental health care. This manifests in ways like removing children from the care of a mental health professional regardless of warnings of possible negative repercussions, removing children from school to be homeschooled by the parent so as to teach them gender-critical ideology and isolate them from antagonists who may provide them with counseling or information on support for LGBTQ+ kids, only allowing information from sources aligning with cult ideology. This is achieved using nanny monitor programs to monitor youth on all electronic devices, blocking anything from Roblox and Minecraft to Discord, Netflix, to trans helplines. Also likely is a complete restriction of internet access altogether, except for when being monitored, like by a parent sitting beside you. Parents take away access to the phone to prevent the child from being able to speak to anyone outside the cult. All friends and family who refer to the child by anything but their name, sex given to them at birth are cut off from coming to see the child, either through direct intervention or manipulation. The combination of these steps results in the total isolation of the child from anyone who sees them as they see themselves. I don't know if I can explain how heartbreaking that feels as a kid. I was incredibly lucky, that nothing like this was ever intentionally done to me, but I did go through that loneliness. And it easily could have been me if my parents had been the kind of people that would treat a child like this. I say this because growing up, I was very gender nonconforming. The things that I loved and the people I idolized were all deemed girly by society. Makeup, jewelry, skirts, and long hair didn't feel girly to me at all. It just felt like me.
Uh-oh. It's a good thing you weren't raised by TRA parents then, otherwise you might have been taken to a clinic and transed against your will. Oh, that was... Like, that's the thing. Like, this is literally an example of why it's a good thing that gender-critical people exist. Gender-critical people who will literally just say, oh, it's a gender non-conforming boy. That's fine. There's no reason to consider that something which could be a medical issue where we need to take them to a therapist to get, potentially at a later point put on puberty blockers and then transitioned. Like, what you're describing is literally something that is better facilitated by the gender-critical point of view. It's me.
But when I pictured who I wanted to be when I was older, it was always the strong women I'd seen in movies and on TV that I wanted to be like. I didn't want to be like a woman. I wanted to be those women. I wanted to be Buffy or Tegan and Sarah or Shane from the L Word. Originally, the Little Fucking Mermaid, who I'm not sure counts as a woman, as I've been told that term only includes adult human females, and she's serving us at least 50% fish. The thing is, I wasn't experiencing dysphoria.
I like that joke. There you go. Yeah, I really do believe in giving credit where it's due. I think that was kind of a funny joke. So there you go. Everyone, you happy with that?
As I imagine a binary trans person would. I didn't feel like I was a girl. I simply didn't have the words to explain that I was femme. And role models that were people like me just didn't exist in my world then. I had no access in the fucking dark internetless ages of the 1900s to any of the information I have now. To put these feelings in a modern context, I was Stan's gender, if you will. It's cringe, but it explains it best. When I finally found the words genderqueer and gender nonconforming as a teen around 17 years ago, they seemed like useful language to describe my experiences. Later, when non-binary
This person is so old.
became a more commonly used term, I went with that to describe my experiences with gender and dysphoria. Glad people out there are coming up with better terms than the ones we had when I was younger. Do we know who came up with the term non-binary? It had to have been like one person, right? I'm filming, so I can't Google it, but if you know, leave a comment in the C-section. I was wearing skirts as a teen, back when that wasn't like a TikTok thing people did. Not like they do it now. And my mother took...
This is highly lame. Just like, I was gender non-conforming before it was cool.
Issue, it was one of concern for my safety, not of her own disgust. For instance, when I came down the stairs in her high heels once as a very young kid, if she was alarmed, it was because it was very unsafe to wear ill-fitting heels going down the stairs. I say this to let you know that on the topic, I have both personal insight and a personal bias, which is why it's good that this series isn't based on my experiences, but on dozens of studies in medical journals, the lived experiences of trans and non-binary people, and the comments and trends of gender-critical parents themselves. A lot fuller of a picture than you'd find in any of the gender-critical groups I was in. There have been many moments in my life where I wondered if I was a trans woman, but learning about gender and its distinction from sex actually made it clear to me that I wasn't, and that I didn't need to be one or the other. Not teaching young people about trans and non-binary identities doesn't prevent anything but a deeper understanding of them.
Sorry. I was a bit late in reaction there because I was kind of processing it, and I just want to say, the claim there is learning that that gender is different from sex was basically helpful for Caelan. But you know who believes that gender is separate from sex? Gender critical people. Like, if gender refers to gender nonconformity, or rather, gender expression and gender stereotypes, then gender critical people believe that that is separate from sex. So again, according to Caelan Conrad's own admission, the gender critical worldview would have perfectly facilitated all of the things that Caelan Conrad is thankful for and thinks were instructive and useful in terms of Caelan Conrad coming to a more complete understanding of who they are. That's interesting, isn't it? It almost seems like actually if Caelan Conrad knew what gender critical people actually believe, Caelan wouldn't be saying they're these evil, horrible, scary people, but recognizing that actually what they're saying not only makes sense, but is precisely the kind of stuff that Caelan Conrad is saying was needed for a healthy and more emotionally and cognitively complete conception of oneself. Fascinating.
Themselves. And in the case of gender critical parents and educators, it can actually serve to push people into transitioning in ways that they don't want or need to. When you preach over and over that there are only two sexes, you're reinforcing the idea that trans and non-binary people need to fit into one of them or the other. And that leaves only one option for someone assigned male at birth, but who doesn't feel like a man. I'm not saying that...
No, the only option for somebody who's assigned male at birth, but doesn't feel like a man, is that they're still a man, because feeling like a man is a nonsense concept.
People are actually transitioning due to gender critical rhetoric. I'm just saying that without queer theory and trans ideology, they very well could be. Literally, what I needed to understand that I wasn't a binary trans person was to speak to and listen to actual binary trans people, which gender critical people would call being groomed. Except once I had all the information, I understood that my experiences with gender were different from what I was hearing from binary trans people. I was lucky to be able to do this almost 20 years ago and have freely...
Sorry, I like how the implication here is like, oh, I wasn't groomed because I didn't come out as trans or didn't come to see myself as trans. I only came to see myself as non-binary. But non-binary is just as much nonsense, and it's just as much dangerous in terms of how it can be kind of a negative and harmful way to cause children to disassociate from themselves, to gaslight children, and to detach them from their own parents who have their best interests at heart, which is, of course, the way that trans identity functions as a tool for groomers. So the fact that you were convinced you were non-binary is not better. Like, that's the thing. I genuinely like saying, oh, well, guess what? I spoke to trans people. I didn't come to see myself as a trans woman. I just came to see myself as non-binary. That's literally not an improvement at all.
Explored my gender and gender presentation since then. And now that I feel comf and co's my identity as non-binary, I'm no longer dreaming of my stansition into Xena or Faith from Buffy. I'm a destansitioner. If I had believed there were only two genders or sexes, like gender critical people preach, who knows what road I would have taken. I'm not going to pull a JK...
But I don't know what you're on about. Like, look, if you believed what gender critical people believe, then you would have taken the road of, oh, so I'm a biological male and I can be as gender non-conforming as I like, but ultimately the reality is that the only way it makes sense to understand being a man is as a biological male. So I'm a man. I may be a gender non-conforming man, I may be a gay man, I may be, any different kind of man, because of course there's a huge variety in terms of who a man can be. The only thing that makes somebody a man is being biologically male, and that's not really going to have to be a massive part of your life. So everything else is entirely up to you. Huge amount of diversity, huge amount to go and explore. Wonderful. And I would like to think you would have been very happy. I don't see what you're suggesting when you say, who knows what route I would have gone down. I can't see any route where it possibly would have been harmful for you. Whereas I can see many ways in which trans identity could be harmful for many people. That telling people, oh, well, do you feel like a man? Because if you don't feel like a man, then maybe there's something wrong with you. Maybe you need therapy. Maybe you're going to commit suicide. Maybe you need to go on puberty blockers. That's a much more harmful path to go down.
Rowling and be like, I had anxiety, so they would have transed me. I'm just saying that understanding I could be just me and fuck around, be genderqueer, that meant I felt way less pressure to conform to anybody's expectations of womanhood or manhood. And hiding that information from me wouldn't have led me to be any more cis. It would have just led me to have made decisions based on an uninformed and ignorant understanding of the world. That's never a good thing. Gender critical people claim that transition is serious and permanent and disfiguring, but then think something that serious should be decided without all the information? What the fuck kind of advice is that? How is that grooming or indoctrinating someone? And anyone who claims that educating children about the real world we live in will lead to the fall of society is someone you should have very little trust in. It is not harmful to teach the true history of colonialism in the US. It is not harmful to teach children about safer sex. It is not indoctrination to tell children the truth.
So I just want to be clear that what we're going to do now, seeing as my camera ran out of battery, is basically just watch it until I feel like you've reached a point where I have something to respond to, and then I'm just going to have to stop because, that's it. If someone's saying Alamo, what was that? It was my camera running out of battery. Oh, if you're saying what was that, it was because I was playing Civilization in the background, because this, spoiler alert, wasn't a very interesting video.
Or indoctrinating someone. And anyone who claims that educating children about the real world we live in will lead to the fall of society is someone you should have very little trust in. It is not harmful to teach the truth.
Wait, hold on a minute.
Lead to the fall of society. Educating children about the real world we live in will lead to the...
Okay, yeah, so I guess I said if we find something I need to respond to, but I think I literally need to respond to that, so we're going to have to end this now. Oh, hello. Hello. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, let's keep it like that. Okay, let's refresh that. That's really funny. You know how I was like, oh, I feel like if you paused on me, you wouldn't come up with any funny faces. Oh, that's so I know. Boom. All right. Civ 4. Yeah, Civ 4. It's all I play. Okay. Sorry. Okay, good news, everybody. My fiance is not back from work for a while. Bars on lock, my developments arrested, I'm the bestest. On a bad day, I spit asbestos. Yes, yes, impressive. I'm steady coming in second. I've not seen this Colette thing. So as you can see, everybody, right, wait, let me just, should we build a, just wondering if we should build a, wonder. See, I'm kind of in a wonder building mood, but I don't think we have much. Oh, screw it, we'll do it. So everybody, basically I was playing as Persia, right? And I'll turn this off. And this is my empire. See, so this is obviously Iran. Then we got Iraq. Then we got Arabia. Sorry, I know Iraq is part of Arabia, but whatever. And I guess actually, because Egypt's part of Arabia too. So then we got Egypt. And then, oh, that's interesting. Oh, maybe I should go to war with Rome then. Hey, Rome. I'm coming, Rome. Coming, Rome. Tell the world I'm coming, Rome. Let the pain wash away. Sorry, rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I feel like I have to strike at Rome, but Rome's like better than me actually. Like they've got longbowmen. People say, yeah, I can place it. Yeah, so basically, I mean, my main issue right now is I feel like I should probably, because the thing is, okay, so these are the issues, right? Rome is not receptive to the idea of open borders with me, suggesting they're already angry, and of course that also cuts me off from Athens. And then they could easily declare war on me at any point, and I would be a sad little boy. So I think I probably need to do a preemptive strike against them now while they've got a considerable army here. The only issue is that I think they've got quite the army. But then having said that, I think I can outproduce them. Wait, let's see. How's my production compared to everyone else? Production. Okay. Okay, wow. Okay, they're not even that high at all. Like, look at me up there. Look at that production. What's your opinion on trans children and stuff? I legit think all attempts to transition minors should be banned, period. Okay, wait. So I'm getting a few comments here. So what's your opinion on trans children and stuff? I would agree with you. I think it should be banned in all contexts. Are you willing to be shared? You mean like, as in you would share my videos? Oh, hold on a minute. I'm frozen. Oh, screw it. Let me fix my face. What do I get? Oh, what do I get? I only get sleepless nights alone, sleep in my empty bed. For you things have done outright. I wish it would happen to me instead. What? So based on the fact I can actually outproduce this bozo, I think I'm just gonna switch to it's an Earth map. It's actually a map I made myself. So basically, I say map I made myself. That's not really true. It's a map I slightly edited. So it's the Earth 18 Civs map. But here's the difference. Okay, I like maps where the new world is empty. So basically the new world is, I mean, literally, if you want to refer to the kind of what's it called, like the racist myth, like the whole virgin land thing. And so basically it literally is a virgin land where there are no civilizations there. There's nothing there. I could switch to, I could open up World Builder just so we can look at it. Okay, you know what, screw it, we're going to do that. Oh wait, okay, not yet, but in a second. Anyway, so I was like, so what I did therefore is I deleted America. I'm playing Civilization 4. America, the Aztecs and the Inca, and I replaced them with the Carthaginians, the Khmer, that sounds like right, and the Vikings. So wait, I want to show you the. Okay, so I'm opening up World Builder, but I'm not gonna like cheat or anything. What do I get? No sleep. So there we go. There's America, and there's nothing there. So eventually, like people will start. Hold on a minute. Is France literally like? Has France literally only got one city? Oh, that is so sad. Oh wow, the Carthaginians. Oh dear, the Carthaginians are spreading, man. Okay, it's not too bad. Hold a minute, is this a? Oh my goodness, Mali, what are you doing? I always find it like it is kind of lame how like you get civilizations just randomly, like Russia always ends up so messed up in this game because you just get like random people like, look, the bloody Romans are here too. I don't want to deal with the Romans up there. Hey, sorry, I am going to cheat a bit. Okay, that's fun. I'm sorry, they have a place called, for a minute I read that as hashtag, and I read it was Hamburg. Wait a minute. Is Rome still at war with them? Okay, relations. Yeah, wait, okay. Yeah, okay, Rome's still at war with Germany. So, all right. You know what? Let's declare war on the Germans. Wait, let me see if I can. Oh my goodness, everything's screwing up, man. Oh wow, I've got like so much stuff here. Okay, wait. Everybody, I will be able to show you the thing. So word on the street is everyone wants to see my butt. So if you stuck around, you finally get rewarded with the candid photo of me where it looks like I've got a massive butt. Except for that everything is so slow. Okay, well, let's just shut everything down.